after Arvind Kejriwal has become the first sitting chief minister to be arrested, a full-blown political war of words has now ensued. While the Aam Aadmi Party has consistently claimed that Kejriwal remains the people's hero and his ideology shall continue, the BJP has held to the defense that he is a corrupt man, quote-unquote. Meanwhile, Kejriwal has sworn that he remains dedicated to the country, whether he is in jail or outside. As this talk between the political parties continues, what really has been the impact of the arrest on the minds of the voters, which has now come just ahead of the Lok Sabha polls? We take this conversation forward. I have with me Shikha Rai of the BJP, Advocate Anmol Pawar of the Aam Aadmi Party, Himanshu Bhatt, senior journalist with us, and Alok Mehta, editorial director of India News, also with us on the broadcast. Let me begin this conversation, if I may, with Himanshu Bhatt, if I can bring in your perspective here. As far as galvanizing the support of the opposition is concerned, Abhishek Manu Singhvi just held a press conference where he said that almost every leader of every opposition party has flown into Delhi, has ensured that they've expressed their support to the Delhi Chief Minister. Has the arrest in some way given some sort of an impetus to opposition unity?
Well, they might like to think so, but I don't think so. Because that image of Kattar Imandar, the moment that arrest came, that image is shattered. Now, whatever happens, whatever the judgment the court pronounces of how many days custody or no custody or bail or whatever it is, but in a common man's mind, you have to understand the phenomenon. And, in democracy, perception politics is very, very important. If you see early 2010s and 14s, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, those 5 years, India against corruption. And there used to be people from Delhi, all around. Every common man used to go in a metro fighting India against corruption. They will be with India against corruption. And there, the same person had said that, an iota of acquisition and the person must leave the job. What is happening today? Even Anna came out and said, we were talking about banning liquor, and here is the man who is making liquor policies. How are you going to justify all these things? Whatever happens, irrespective of, court's judgment or anything, the public perception, they might like to think so. Opposition might like to think so, that they have won that battle. But it's not the case on the ground. You go and ask 10 people across the country. I'm not talking only about Delhi. Let's be very, very clear about that. Because some people seem to have a perception, because Delhi is a capital, anything and everything happens in Delhi, happens in Bharat. No, it's not happening that way, my friend. Right. There's a very definite public perception. And we have been watching that.
Okay, all right.
If you ask 10 people, 8 will say, this had to happen one day.
Okay. Alok Mehta, would you agree with that assessment as well then? That do you feel the public perception is now in favor of the opposition or has gone against it?
Devika ji, it will be too early to say that what will happen in especially Delhi when the election will be held on 25th May. Right. I think it's a long period and that's why it's not very difficult, but certainly perception will be there. But unfortunately, I agree with Himanshu ji, on moral ground, he should resign immediately. Even he should have resigned 1 year back. When the first someone came to his house, he should have resigned. But certainly, maybe it's his decision. What I feel, that Lalu Yadav survived, is still surviving in politics. Tejaswi Yadav was Deputy Chief Minister a few months back. So, the problem in our India and democracy, and what the Congress party now, they are meeting with the Election Commission also. They say, okay, what is the charges? Not like Lalu Yadav, but same Rahul Gandhi and all the Congress party. They were now supporting him. They are still supporting, or they are opposing earlier. Delhi Pradesh Congress chief was opposing a few months back, last year. So what I feel, that perception is there. but depend how the BJP and Congress play their role. Now Congress is totally with him. So Congress will suffer more even than Kejriwal. And BJP, how they manage, because their MPs in Delhi, some extent they have to change, and now the good faces are there. So I think if they work hard, certainly they will, otherwise in the corporation elections, because the organization was poor or the MPs or MLAs, they were not working well. That's why BJP suffered. But on the name of the Modi ji, Prime Minister Modi,
Yes.
everywhere in the all over India, they are getting response. But I am afraid, don't think that Kejriwal is still, because he is getting, it's time to get the sympathy. He is a very shrewd man. He is income tax officer, for proof also. He was carrying other documents instead of himself. Even for ED, what they have told in the court, that he was snooping the ED people. So you can imagine. So for politicians also, maybe for Congress people also, he must be having some record about their supporting or opposing whatever they were doing. So I think it's a very difficult to counter Kejriwal. He's a very dangerous person in that sense. As a political person, he feel how he can get sympathy,
Okay.
how he can play drama very well. And as a bureaucrat, he was aware how one can play with the law and rules.
Okay, all right. Anmol Pawar, you've heard what our analysts have had to say. Is the Aam Aadmi Party then somewhere worried that the image and perception of an Arvind Kejriwal has taken a hit?
Devika, I feel that people of Delhi are intelligent enough to understand that Enforcement Directorate and CBI are operating in blatant disregard of the constitution and laws of the land. They are working at the behest of Bharatiya Janata Party, and the only purpose of arresting Mr. Kejriwal is to harass him, to victimize him, and create a non-level playing field in the upcoming elections. Because they know that they are not going to win this time in Delhi. That is the reason why they were forced to change their 6 sitting MPs. And the Council for the Enforcement Directorate yesterday admitted before the Honorable Delhi High Court that neither he is an accused nor the party has been made an accused. Then it is for the Bharatiya Janata Party and the Enforcement Directorate to answer as to why has he been arrested illegally.
Okay, let me bring in the BJP into the conversation then. Mr. Rai, the biggest allegation currently against the BJP that has been raised now by all the opposition leaders is that this is nothing but an attempt to paralyze the opposition ahead of the elections. They say that the case has been going on for over 1.5 years. There was plenty of time to come after an Arvind Kejriwal if there was in fact solid proof. Why is it that the agencies are choosing 2 months before the elections as the time to, summon Arvind Kejriwal, arrest Arvind Kejriwal?
Well, ma'am, I heard all the arguments earlier before. Everyone talked about the image that he has right now and the public perception about him and the timing of this arrest. I just want to ask one thing as a common person. If ED finds anybody accused, prima facie evidence against him or her, anybody, can he avoid the summons? An ordinary person? But since he was chief minister, he was some special person, he was avoiding it one after the other. ED gave time, one after the other. He went to the court so many times, one or the other pretext, and he himself was avoiding. The timing that now he is arrested is created by Mr. Kejriwal himself. It has nothing to do. The law has taken its course very well within legal procedures, nothing illegal. If there is any illegality in the procedure, it can be challenged in the court. And he was always there, almost all the time. On every summon event, he used every means to avoid this ED summons. Why was so? If you say that you are clean and clear, you could have joined investigation in the very beginning, November. There were no elections at that time. To say, so see, this is again a drama on which Aam Aadmi Party is basically resting everything on. Right from their inception till date, it is all drama and events, media events that they are creating so this perception of them that they are those Aam Aadmi who would never take a car, who would never take any facility, would never take a house. We are all sacrificed. I take oath on my children that I will not join any time anyway with Congress. Now we can see the upside turn, the 360-degree turn. So the perception of the public from the last 6 months, when they're seeing it one after the another and they're facing it. I tell you, the people of Delhi faced that when the liquor policy was made to benefit the liquor vendors, and the people of Delhi suffered when it was served one with one free in the COVID times when nothing was opened. It was these liquor shops that were opened immediately, and thereafter how through the liquor policy, the people of Delhi, the youth of Delhi all suffered because of this liquor scam, and then the exchequer, and then the money laundering, all these things before the court. He has been to the court many times, and yesterday, when the court was forced to see prima facie evidence, which was not supposed to be there at that time, but court was made to see it, and court, after having a look at all those documents, finding the prima facie evidence against Mr. Kejriwal, rejected the bail. So what is the illegality there? What is the procedural lapse there? Why is so ruckus out there?
Okay.
If he has
Shikara, I've understood your point. We have to let Anmol Parwar respond
I want
as well.
to respond.
Yes.
Shikha ji is not aware of the fact that he has never applied for a bail application. Actually, Mr. Kejriwal approached the Honorable Delhi High Court challenging the illegal and politically motivated summons which were issued to him and which were duly replied each and every time, seeking explanation as to in which capacity was he sought to be interrogated by the Enforcement Directorate officers. The Counsel for the Enforcement Directorate opposed the petition and questioned the maintainability of the petition. But the Honorable Delhi High Court rejected their contentions and issued the notice and asked the Enforcement Directorate to file a reply within 2 weeks. So even the court is of the view that the matter needs to be heard.
That's for the remand.
Because they believe that the summons are illegal.
Okay, but Anmol Parwar, I'm going to bring in Himanshu Bhatt. Himanshu Bhatt, you've heard what both the BJP and Aam Aadmi Party have had to say. But on this matter of the summons, unfortunately for either of the political parties, the Aam Aadmi, a regular person, does not get into the nitty-gritties and the legalities of what is being said in the court, why is it being said in the court, what is the bottom line. Nobody understands to that extent. That is for the courts to decide and for the legal minds to comprehend and understand. At the end of the day, when Arvind Kejriwal, when the news is that Arvind Kejriwal has once again not appeared before the ED, has not complied with the summon, what message is then being sent out to the general public? Is the general public feeling that Arvind Kejriwal is being victimized, or are they feeling that Arvind Kejriwal is in fact acting rather arrogant?
The latter. Because what happens generally, when an investigative agency says, come, I'm sending you a summons, I need to question you. A common man like me and you would respond to that. At one first summons, if we may not be able to do it, some other work, then at least on the second or third, we will do it. But when you dodge about 9 summons, and the reason for dodging is, they said summons are not legal. Why? That is their law. They do not believe in the constitution because what they say is right. Now today ED made it very clear.
Then why did the High Court?
He's the ED in the court.
Why did the High Court issue the summons?
Arvind Kejriwal needs to be arrested and kept in ED custody for 10 days because they consider him the kingpin. If he's not, no problems. He thinks he's not a kingpin. Then let him talk to ED, answer their questions correctly, and come out clean. But that's not happening. See, what's happening is you are saying the democracy has been murdered. How the democracy is murdered? You dodged
Himanshu ji,
9
can
summons.
you,
Right.
can you,
You
can
don't-
you,
Anmol,
Nine summons,
I'll
then
give you an
democracy was
opportunity.
alive.
Let him just wind up his point. Yes.
When you dodged 9 summons, democracy was alive. Because you are sitting chief minister, you are above everyone. That doesn't happen in this country.
Right.
In Bharat, everyone is equal.
Okay.
And every 6 months, we are having some election or other. Let me tell you that. When you have an election every 6 months, election should not be anyone's argument. Because
Right.
we all go through that. And agencies need to do their work. And let me tell you, Devika, before I wind up, let me tell you this. All these things came up. How it came up? During one of the colleagues of Arvind Kejriwal, Manish Sisodia, when the talk was going on in the court found, ED said, it's about 338 crores. And the court observed, why are you not making this party an accused? That is where Arvind Kejriwal came. Because he is the sole convener
Okay.
and the chief minister.
Right.
So, whichever way you look at it, ED has rightly called him kingpin.
Okay. All right. Okay. I have to let Anmol respond to that.
Devika ji, I think your viewers must not be misinformed. Actually, the fact of the matter is that the Honorable Supreme Court in Pankaj Bansal versus Union of India has categorically said that mere known cooperation cannot be a ground for arrest in case a person is neither an accused nor a company or a party is an accused. Under Section 70 of PMLA Act, it has been categorically mentioned when and how can a company or a party can be made an accused. In the charge sheet, in the contentions made by the Enforcement Directorate or the CBI, it has nowhere been pleaded that Aam Aadmi Party has been made an accused. Then there is no question of arresting Mr. Kejriwal. Moreover, the reality of this liquor scam, or you can say investigation scam, is that one of the main accused was Aurobindo Pharma, whose director is P. Sharat Chandra Reddy. He purchases electoral bonds on November 2022. After 5 days, he donates it to Bharatiya Janata Party. After 3 months, in May 2023, he gets bail. And the interesting part is that ED neither challenged the contentions made by P. Sharat Chandra Reddy.
Yes.
And the ground of his bail was that he has a back pain. And thereafter, in June, he becomes an approver. And the Honorable Supreme Court has also, time and again, relied upon the judgment of Ravinder Singh versus State of Haryana, which says that an approver is the most unworthy friend. And he has to be. And these evidence, these statements have to be substantiated by some other corroborative evidence which is not present in this case. Not a single piece of evidence after more than 500 raids, after more than 50,000 page of charge sheet.
Okay.
After 2 years of investigation, not a single penny has been recovered. Same applies for Maguntha Reddy. He was also apprehended in 2022.
Okay, but at the same time, Anmol, the enforcement
Thereafter
guys...
he-
All the time
these
is-
arguments are a
Everything-
matter of
Okay,
trial.
one second.
Everything
What's
is
your-
on record. Everything is on record.
Yes,
This is
if
part
it
of
is
the
so-
application which has been filed by the Enforcement Directorate before the court.
Okay.
All
All right,
I think
Himanshu.
And people
Shikha,
can make
I'll
out
come to you in just a moment.
the reality
All the
of this
time he will
investigation
speak.
scam.
Yes, I'll come to you in just a moment. Alok Mehta, your perspective on this. As far as responding or complying with the summons is concerned, because I'm trying to have a larger conversation about public perception at this point in time, what message was actually sent out to the people?
That's why anybody who is ruling, he can do whatever they want. I respect where Arvind Kejriwal ji, he was fighting for the right to information. But you see, on transparency issue, why he was not, when the Manish Sisodia, he was from the media when he joined the politics with Arvind Kejriwal. I feel very bad about him because Manish Sisodia in jail since last 1 year. And what Arvind Kejriwal says, no proof. Why Supreme Court is not releasing him? Why not giving bail to him? What is happening to the Sanjay Singh? You see, these kind of all the proof they gave to Supreme Court, and now the Kavita, the Telangana leader, she now, after all the proof must be there. And that's why I'm not just justice. They should respect the Supreme Court and court, High Court and every court. Because the Congress leaders were also faced such situations in their rule. I'm not talking about now. I think our friend will read Sunday Guardian
Right.
next Sunday. I will give the details how the Congress chief minister were also in the liquor policy, not in Delhi, but in other states. I'm not disclosing all the name. And to see the judgment, what you are talking there now, judgment, Chief Justice J.S. Verma, his judgment was there. And when he was the High
Yes.
Court Chief Justice, he
Okay.
said that they are devil who did this kind of change the policy in one very strong judgment. That's why I say, please read the documents and then go for the court. Otherwise,
Okay.
you are just avoiding the court and the public,
Okay.
making fools of the public.
Okay, Shikhar, I wanted to respond, then I want to leave the last word with Himanshu Bhatt.
See, I have not said earlier on public perception. I want to say that they're totally exposed. All this ruckus, all this halla is only because the Aam Aadmi Party is totally exposed by all the deeds that they have done during last 10 years. And let me just ask one thing from Mr. Aam Aadmi Party's respected spokesperson, that if there wasn't anything in it, then why yesterday Mr. Kejriwal's petition was rejected by the High Court? And that is why only after that he was arrested. And then, let me just complete. And I think it is only in India, in this democracy, when ED kind of investigating agency sends 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 summons, and then you have every right to go to court and you use every mean under the umbrella for you to protect yourself. You go to court, you ask court so many times, and then after the court has given a verdict yesterday, what is there? Like, we have faith in our justice system. And if you have all the arguments that you have here, though he is not this, you have every right to go to the court and tell them. It is only the investigation that is being asked to join.
Okay, all right. Anmol Parvan, then the bottom question that everybody is asking is, if an Arvind Kejriwal is in fact clean, that there has been no corruption, there is no trail whatsoever, then why not just comply with the agency?
That is the basic issue, no?
See, Devika, first of all, I would like to respond to Shikhaji. I think, unfortunately, she lacks
Himanshu ji is
basic...
talking now.
She lacks basic understanding.
Listen to first Himanshu ji.
Everything.
Sir,
One second, I have to let,
no.
one second,
Don't play
please.
with
I have to let
please allow
Anmol
me.
respond because Shikhar has raised a legal matter.
no, what basic understanding?
what
I'm
you guys
also
are
an
doing.
advocate.
Himanshu
I
ji,
know.
please.
One second,
Please.
please. Everyone, please. I have to let Anmol respond because Shikhar has raised a legal matter. Anmol, quickly, you wanted to give a clarification of what's happened in the court yesterday.
Devika ji, unfortunately, Shikha ji lacks basic understanding of law. The application was filed yesterday, and issuance of notice by the Delhi High Court means that the application has been accepted and ED has been granted
Oh my
time to
goodness.
reply the
Sir,
same.
I'm also an advocate.
It is listed for
It is-
hearing on
notice is
22nd
always
of
sent to
April.
the opposite party to
It is
hear both the
listed for-
parties.
Had
It is
it
not
not
that
been
it was
maintainable,
accepted.
Okay,
it would
all
have
right.
been
Okay.
Yes,
rejected
what
then
happened
and
in the
there.
end? What happened
It
in
would
the
have
end?
been rejected then and there had the notice, had the
My
application
goodness.
being not
you
maintainable.
take notice as acceptability, sir?
All
Notice
right.
is always
Why-
sent to
why
the
did
other
the-
party.
Okay,
to
Anmol,
come
the
before
basic
court
point,
and
the
give their
basic
version.
point, the basic
We are not
point, like I
discussing
said, the
you're
basic,
talking about.
the basic
We are
point,
not
like I
discussing
said,
about the
Anmol,
advanced
one second, everyone. Anmol, the basic point remains, like I said, if Arvind Kejriwal was clean, there was no trail of any sort of corruption, why not comply? Just 30 seconds for you to answer, then I want to put the last question to Himanshu Bhatt.
Devika, time and again we have said that we replied to the summons sent by Enforcement Directorate. We always offered to join the investigation. And we just sought a basic information as to in what capacity are they calling us?
Party
As a
president.
convener, as a party, maybe the sir who intervened, maybe he's also part of the Enforcement Directorate. He knows better because ED has not
No.
said so in the court.
ED said about
How do you
that
kink me, my friend?
ED said
Today,
case.
what ED has
even
said in the court, if everybody would come to know after the judgment, you will also come to know what ED has said in the court, what evidence do they have.
Okay. I want to just, then I want to flip around the argument. Himanshu, but one simple question to you. Today, the Delhi High Court has also admitted the CBS plea on reopening the case against A. Raja, who was acquitted a few years back. The question then people ask is, this government has been in power for 10 years. Why is it that there have been acquittals, and why is it that there have then not been any sort of major arrests that have been made, which everybody else was assuming would be done once this government comes to power? At the same time, the timing of the Congress claiming that their bank accounts have been frozen, now A. Raja's case, after a very long trial and acquittal, once again being readmitted, Arvind Kejriwal facing the ED as well. The simple point here, the flip side of the argument is, does the timing then somewhere does seem a little suspicious to the general public?
Suspect the timing.
It's not a government, it's a CBI.
It's not a government.
The case was
That's
already
what I was
pending.
telling. It's basically
Pending
the
in the court.
agencies that are working. In fact, Devika, I'll tell you, this has not helped BJP. This has damaged BJP. This has not helped BJP. So, BJP think tank must be really hitting their heads. Why this has come now? Why give him a chance to have a publicity? Good or bad, publicity is a publicity. And again, coming to the center field, today if you see, in 24 hours, no channel has been talking anything about any other thing but Kejriwal. He's become the eye of enclosure for everyone. So actually, I'll tell you one thing. See, this is the perception that political drama being played out, and people are trying to create a perception that he's been made a victim, which is not the case. Agencies are doing just their work. Similarly, when Raja's case come up, they have to prepare a substantial ground if you want to restart it and reopen a file. That requires a lot of work. And this
sometimes
sort of
the
thing when
files
happens
also
in a
go missing.
democracy, what happens is the perception of the people take a hit. It's not that, that ruling party is destroying democracy. It's this sort of events, the events for the full day, what we saw. Yes, I grant that to Aam Aadmi Party, that within 10 years, short time, they have come up well. But let's accept that fact that they have come up well, but they have come up well in two small pockets of the country. Nowhere else. For that, you cannot be taking entire country to a ransom.
Right. Okay.
That two small pockets made us a national party, sir. That two small pockets.
Okay. All right.
And we are the fastest growing political startup in this
those who
country.
made you,
Yeah.
those
Became fast.
Last
voters
chapter
who
now.
made you the national party,
Okay,
look how accountable you are to them.
There to say.
Okay, all right. I've completely run out of time, but of course, we will continue to track all the developments as far as Arvind Kejriwal's case is concerned later in the day. On the other side, we've done an important conversation in Maharashtra on what the voter feels on the ground about the overall Lok Sabha elections. Stay tuned to NewsX.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.